Hey, welcome back. Today we are continuing our series on why it's important for you as a real estate investor to be on podcasts, to be a podcast guest. And today we're talking about reason number 7, and that is to build your personal brand. So being seen, being exposed to new people, and strutting your stuff a little bit, showing people what you're up to is a great way to build up your personal brand as a real estate entrepreneur, as a real estate expert. And there's no better place to get that started than by being a guest on podcasts. So on this episode, we're going to talk about how to really leverage podcasting for building your brand. So a lot of people, when they think about their brand, they're worried about slogans and logos and color combinations and all that kind of stuff. And that's okay, but that's not really the important thing. For you and I, as what I call mom and pop real estate investors, our personal brand is us, right? How we show up, what we are known for. That is your personal brand. And there's no better place to really build your brand than by being interviewed on a podcast. And why is that? Because number one, when you're being interviewed on a podcast, you are automatically positioned as an expert. You're automatically positioned as an authority. You're automatically positioned as a real estate entrepreneur who knows their stuff. Otherwise, why would you be on the podcast, right? So we got to take advantage of that, and we need to use that to build up our brand. So what are some of the different ways that we can do this? Well, the first thing that you want to do is you want to be known for something specific. Now, a lot of people out there, they're in the real estate world, they do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They're kind of all over the place. And that's okay, nothing wrong with that. But you don't want to be known as a generalist. You want to be known as a specialist. You want to be known as somebody who is an expert on one particular thing, right? Jack of all trades, master of none, that's the assumption. So pick whatever your main strategy is, or pick whatever it is that is kind of your bread and butter strategy. And that's what you really want to focus on when it comes to being interviewed on other people's podcasts. Be known as that specialist. So for example, I've interviewed people that do a multiple of different kind of strategies, but I always laser focus them in on the number one thing that they're having the most success with. So the number one thing that they're going to be doing more of in the future. And then that's what we're going to focus the conversation on. So go into your podcast guesting strategically, thinking about, okay, how can I use this opportunity to kind of show my stuff, to build my brand as an expert, as a specialist in this particular topic. And then really gear your answers to questions around that. So again, it's not just always having a free flow conversation. It's you strategically thinking, how can this better move me ahead? How can this better position me and my brand for this particular thing? Now, when it comes to the whole branding thing, there's a few different things you can do there. So for example, if you are an investor who's doing the BRRRR strategy, well, guess what? There are a lot of other investors doing the BRRRR strategy as well. So you probably want to tie in your branding around that to something else that's specific. So you might be the BRRRR specialist for St. Louis, or you're the BRRRR specialist in Mississauga, or you're the BRRRR specialist in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Wherever you're doing it, kind of focus on becoming known as the guy or the gal that's really good at doing that in that area. Or perhaps you've got some special little twist to what you're doing. So I've got some clients that do the BRRRR, but they do these with older commercial buildings, which they turn around and turn into either mixed use commercial residential or into 100% residential properties after they've done the conversion. So that's what their specialty is. That's what they're known for, is the conversion specialist. So again, you don't have to be a hotshot real estate investor who's got tons and tons of deals under your belt, but just kind of think about, what do you want to be known for when it comes to real estate investing? Focus on that much more than your logo, than your slogan, than your colors. It's going to go a long way to having people take you much more seriously. Now, speaking of podcasting, if you like the idea of being a guest and being featured on a podcast, then I'd like to talk with you. In fact, I'd like to interview you on my podcast. I've got 2 different podcasts. I've been doing this since 2018. And the show I'd like to feature you on is called the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. You can find a time and book your time in there at daveinterviews.you.com. I've been doing this podcast since 2018. At the time that I'm recording this video, we're at over 460 episodes, and I absolutely love interviewing what I call everyday people investing in real estate. And one of the things we can do with this interview is really help you to build up your brand, to be seen as an expert, as an authority in the eyes of not just our listeners, but more importantly, in the eyes of your followers, the eyes of your friends, family members, coworkers, associates, people in your local real estate investing community. So again, go ahead, check that out, daveinterviewsyou.com. Look forward to chatting with you soon.